One of our clients last year increased their sales by 240%, I think it was. I forget the exact numbers, but it was over 200, under 300%. Everyone, happy new year. Let me start the video off with that. My name's Germaine. This is my first proper video on YouTube, you could call it, but I just wanted to hop on, and considering that this is the first day of 2021, it's a whole new year. I'm sure everyone is thinking about how can we get past this year that has been. We started the year off completely crazy. The whole office was just covered in smoke. There was just smoke everywhere. We're in Canberra, so it was bushfires, peak bushfires. You know, I was struggling to breathe. People were just struggling. Air purifiers were sold out everywhere. Not that like they didn't do that much anyway. So 2020 was a crazy year, or a crazy start, we thought. And then we got into the illness, the disease, the pandemic, whatever you want to call it. We all know what's been going on, and it was just insane. It's sort of the stuff that, you know, you watch in a movie and you sort of go, yeah, that's sort of believable. I don't know if any of you watched, I think it was called 2020, a Netflix sort of satirical, dark comedy sort of show. To me, the biggest thing about that was just how many crazy things happened in 2020. It was not good for anyone, really. I think the biggest lesson, and I covered this really quickly in my little spiel on our newsletter, on the Future Theory newsletter. So if you want to go to futuretheory.com.au/subscribe, you'll be able to hop on that. Basically what I said was that the biggest lesson I learned was about diversification. Before I guess got into what I really learned, I think, from this year, is to talk about what 2020 has been like for us, and how we had to think about 2020. So I think the first reaction that everyone had was, this is horrible, this is the worst thing ever, and you know, it's really tough, and I'm not trying to take away from that. When you're losing your job, when you have only, say, one source of income, or when you have a family, all those things just mount and mount and mount, and it just becomes really difficult to take on that pressure. And I'm not going to act like I know exactly what that is like, but what I want to talk about was the fact that what matters more is, I think, personally, how you react to it. Now, amidst COVID, we actually ended up hiring staff. We actually ended up growing the business and having some really strong quarters. All the while, you know, related businesses, related organizations around us were struggling, and that I know for a fact. The thing is that we chose to look at it as, people, we're always going to have things pop up. We're always going to have issues. We're always going to have... Now, I know they're not going to be as dramatic as COVID has been, but we're always going to have issues. And when you're running a business, you have to think about all those things as just part and parcel of what you're doing, and, you know, just part of it all. You just got to, like, as the director, I have to take it as just part of what we do, take it in stride and just keep pushing forward. Because at the end of the day, there's no other solution. What can we do? We don't have any control over these factors. And like I said, and I keep saying, it was a really big thing, and it still is. You know, just because it's 1 January 2021, all that stuff hasn't just vanished or hasn't stopped being a problem. COVID's still a problem. Vaccination is still a problem. We're still having outbreaks. We're still getting clusters. That hasn't stopped. So I know as humans, we always, I think what we do is we look to, this arbitrary date and tell ourselves, now this year, 2021, that's going to be different. That's going to be our year. That's going to be the year that I work out more. That's going to be the year that, I get on YouTube for the first, proper time, like I am. But there's no reason why 2021 is any different. All you're doing there is really just changing your mentality around it and changing how you look at 2021 and how you approach it. So all that's to say that I think we've got to look at this. I made this very intentional decision to imagine that COVID is just another challenge within a business that you have to face. Yes, it's a particularly big one, but it's just another challenge that you have to face. And you have to just move forward from that point and not use it as a crutch. You can use it as a reason as to why, you're not doing as well, for example, perhaps, but not as an excuse, not as a crutch. You need to pivot, you need to change, you need to change delivery methods. We didn't have a huge problem with COVID in that we never really went into a lockdown in Canberra because we never had a huge outbreak, but we stopped seeing clients. We had to definitely get on Zoom like a lot of other people, and we had to just sort of deal with these things that were happening. Awards shows that we would have gone to in the past weren't being held in person anymore. They were online. Now, I'm not saying all this as if they were huge challenges, they were insurmountable. They were really not a big deal, looking at everything else that everyone has had to deal with. But I guess my first message before I roll into what I learned in 2020, or what 2020 taught me, is that we've just got to look at it as it's all mindset. We've got to think about it positively. Know that, tomorrow is going to be a better day. It will be. So I've rambled on enough about mindset and 2020. This whole video is about 2021. The message that I want to give you guys and tell you to think about is something that I've thought about for a very long time. I've been very passionate about, and in reality, I actually earned income this way a long time ago, but and I'll get into that story a little bit later in another video. I'll talk to you about how much I earned. It wasn't that much, and I definitely didn't carry on doing that same thing. I perhaps should have, but I only remembered the other day when I went onto my Google AdSense account that I had actually earned some money through Google AdSense fairly recently. But let's get to the point. And the point is that the most important thing that 2020 taught me is the importance of diversification, is about looking at multiple sources of income, not just having your day job as a source of income. For me, having a business, we have multiple sources of income, not as many as I'd like, so that's something that we're working on, but that takes time. We can't go into a business suddenly creating multiple streams of income. It's something that we're working on, something that we're adding people to the team to be able to sort of capitalize and build out these multiple sources of income. Now, you might be wondering how that works, what that means for you, if you've got a day job or if you've got a full-time sort of job. My thing is that you've got to start a side hustle. And the number one way of doing this, and everyone talks about passive income as an opportunity. Look at me, I'm sitting on a beach, I'm earning money, here's my Stripe account, or here's my PayPal account, check out how much money I earn, check out how much money I make. Now, that's not what I'm going on about. What I'm going on about is using inbound marketing to basically build out a business for yourselves. Now, what this entails is creating a website around a certain topic and then building content, writing informative content, helpful content, even, recording videos perhaps, to build out a website that positions you as an authority on that topic. Now, it can be anything, like genuinely anything. It could be reviewing pans or talking about how to keep your kitchen clean and tidy. There are honestly so many ways and things that you can talk about on your own website, and it's not very difficult to build out a website. We're not talking about, these highly complex, sophisticated websites. We're talking about essentially just a blog. Like, just start blogging. I don't necessarily want to get into the ins and outs of how you can make an income, how you can build out authority. I think at the moment, the best thing I can suggest is a group called Income School. They've actually got a YouTube channel, so I'll include a link to Income School's Project 24 program. So basically they're talking about 24 months to earning a full-time income out of a blog. So this is not a quick, make money tomorrow, just quit your job and retire on passive income forever sort of solution. This is a long-term, you've got to work away at it. You've got to really work hard. You've got to put in a lot of work. But the way I see it, it's something that you can put in an hour a day for 12 months, 24 months, and really build out as either as a side hustle, as another source of income, or as your sole source of income. You can build businesses. In reality, news corporations and companies, CNET, The Verge, all those businesses essentially do the same thing as what we're talking about here. The difference there is that they fund journalists and they build out a team, and that's something that you can do in the future as well. And there's a lot that goes into it. I'm not here to say that it's simple. I'm not saying that it's just something that you can start doing tomorrow, but diversification is the important thing. Think about how you're delivering or how you're earning your money. Does it require face-to-face interaction? Think about how you can take it online without compromising your service and your product. It might actually be, rather than even inbound marketing and thinking about, a blog and content marketing, you could start selling things online. One of our clients last year increased their sales by 240%, I think it was. I forget the exact numbers, but it was over 200, under 300%. That's during a year that, businesses were struggling, people were struggling. So there is so much potential out there. And it's not easy. That's why not everyone's doing it.